Yeah, let's go. All right, guys, if you'll take your seats, we'll get the show on the road. Thank you all for attending the very first that are on. My name's David Onanian. I'm an agent and an investor, if we haven't met already. And I'm super excited about today because we want to teach you guys real actionable stuff so that you can come here and learn, network, and grow with our help. So I'll start us out by saying this is my 10th year as a real estate agent. It's kind of hard to believe for me, but I got licensed all the way back in 2013. And for many of those years, I sold 5 or 6 houses a year. 5 or 6 houses a year. And I was actually pretty proud of that at some point. But this year, and 12 days from now, something pretty incredible is happening. We're going to be closing on our 100th house this year in 2023. Thank you. Which I'm really excited about, and one of the reasons why we're having this event is trying to teach you guys what we're seeing that's just absolutely crushing it in the market. We're doing things a little bit differently here. And one thing that I know that even no matter if you're doing 5 houses a year or 100 houses a year, all of us realtors still have the same problem. We don't know what our paycheck's going to look like in 90 days, right? I can look out at January 2024 and I don't have any closings scheduled. I don't know how much commission I'm going to make, even though we did 100 deals this year. And likely it's the same scenario for you guys as well. So one of the things we do here differently at Cashflow Nation is we try to equip our agents in the mindset of wealth building. So wealth building from multiple sources of income. So not only are we going to teach you how to do more transactions, higher commissions, but we want to help you invest in real estate. We want to help you acquire rental income. We want to help you acquire equity in your brokerage, revenue share in your brokerage. We want to see you have multiple streams of income so that you can get closer to financial freedom. You can start building wealth and actually have a retirement plan. That's one thing that a lot of agents don't have. I've never heard of a real estate agent having a retirement party. Like, it just doesn't exist, and it's a sad reality. Here we are next to the best investment vehicle in the world, real estate. You know, Andrew Carnegie said it best 100 years ago, 90% of all millionaires are made through real estate. And the sad fact is that 90% of real estate agents don't invest in real estate. And it's my opinion in the next 10 years, those 90% aren't going to be around. Innovation is happening in the marketplace right now. There is a ton of competition for the traditional real estate agent, and they're feeling it right now. One of the other things I'll tell you is in a moment here, I'm going to invite my good friend and co-founder of this event, Kevin Draghi, up to share how to find motivated sellers. Before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit of story about how Kevin and I met. So I actually looked this up right before I came here. The year that I met Kevin, I sold 4 houses. I sold 4 houses that year as a realtor. And one of those houses was to my cousin, my best friend. He was a first-time home buyer with his fiance, and they were buying a house. And I was there for the final walkthrough right before closing, and I found water in the basement. Now, if you guys know anything about first-time home buyers and water in the basement, if you mix that together, it goes nuclear pretty quick. And so here I am panicking in the basement on my 4th deal of the year, trying to figure out how we're going to get to closing on this thing. And I called the listing agent, and he's like, sit tight. The seller lives nearby. He's going to be there in like 5 or 10 minutes. And so I sit tight, and here comes this I'll say a little bit beat up Prius parks in front of the house. And I don't know why this stood out to me, but it was wrapped in all this credit repair jargon. And I was like, oh, here comes this, joker, coming out. And he was super professional. And we went in the basement and we saw water was coming in through a window well. It could have been, as simple as like window well covers and stuff like that. But he went right to, what would really, life-proof this basement is that if we did drain tile all around the perimeter of the basement, we put a sump pump in, they'd never have to worry about water in the basement again. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a great idea, but who's going to pay for that? And that day, he had a bid for the repair and a check made out to my buyers in the mailbox of the property. And that really left an impression on me. It was like, here's an investor that's not about trying to make as much money as he can. He's out there to do the right thing and out there to stand behind his product and do the client good and do the agents good in the deal. And so a couple years fast forward from that, I was looking to become an investor. I had been struggling in my corporate job and struggling as an agent trying to get the ball rolling. And I said, I want to become an investor. And I reached out to Kevin and we had coffee. And Kevin's like, I would love to help you invest. And all you got to do is join this mastermind with me and I'll coach you and I'll train you. And I was like, okay, that's great. What's the catch? Well, it's $6,000. And I about spit out my coffee. And I was like, well, no way I'm doing that, right? And I had just bought my first deal back then. And things weren't going too terrible yet. But in the next coming months, it turned into a complete nightmare. I just didn't know what I didn't know when it came to rehabbing an investment property. My wife and I had worked our corporate jobs for 10 years at that point. We had saved up $100,000 in our savings account. Like, this was our family nest egg. And I had permission from my wife to go out and buy our very first investment property with the promise that I was only going to take a little bit out of that account and I was going to put it right back in because we're going to refinance it, we're going to sell it, and it's going to be right back in. And 6 months into my first deal, I had zero in my bank account. It all went into this house. Problem after problem after problem came up. And I was lying awake at night trying to figure out how this nightmare was going to end. And really the only solution I could think of is pay Kevin and get him to help you. And at that point, I didn't have $10 to pay Kevin. And so I decided to go all in. And I signed up for a promotional credit card that had no payments for 6 months. And really took a leap of faith on this one and swiped the credit card thinking 6 months should be enough time to figure this thing out, get this thing turned around. And I'm so thankful I did, because within 60 days, just from an introduction that Kevin gave me, I had an $8,000 commission and I paid off the credit card and I was back in the plus. Like within 60 days, it happened that quick. And over the coming years, the payoff kept stacking up. My wife and I left our corporate jobs. We've acquired 20 rental properties. We've done dozens of flips. We're closing on our 100th deal as an agent this year. And really, I owe Kevin so much gratitude for sending us on this trajectory. And I know that if you lean in and you listen here today, he can have that kind of impact on your life as well. So with no further ado, I'd like you to give me a warm welcome for Kevin DeRock.
Thanks, man. Awesome. That always makes you feel good when you hear a nice success story. Cool. Well, guys, I'm super pleased that you guys are here. I'm glad you found the place and all that. How many here are agents and how many are investors? So agents, investors, awesome. So the reason I bring that up, it's so I can tell you guys a little bit more about this. How many people fish? One? Okay. You can tell the fisher people, and then the people are like, maybe? Or so here is a fishing pole. I actually just plucked this. It's a bamboo. It's not. I wouldn't use it, but We just plucked this out of one of the houses we just bought, but I was like, man, what a great analogy and a prompt to help you guys do this. So when you get into investing, when you get into being an agent in this world, right, there's a lot of things that traditional people tell you to go out and do, right? So I went fly fishing. Have you guys done this? I haven't. So this is my first time. I actually just broke an arm. I'm down in Montauk with a couple buddies. They have their waders on. It's cold. I have my Crocs on, so obviously I don't know what I'm doing. Broken arm, and they're fishing, and they're like catching stuff. They're catching stuff, and I'm just lousy, which I could insert in multiple reasons why. But what I didn't know, which they eventually taught me, is the fish have certain places that they go. So in this creek, there's like rocks, or there's a couple rocks where it breaks up the current so that the fish could kind of relax. They have somewhere to go, right? And the same thing is for our potential buyers or our potential sellers, right? They also have their same places that they go and feel shelter, right? We just need to learn where to find that spot, right? Where to put our hook, where to put our offer. So for simplicity to remember these things, right, we're going to call this the 5 Ds of motivated sellers, right? So where to stick your hook, where to find your motivated leads. And anybody who's done some wholesaling, you know you got to find that motivation. More than anything, motivation is the biggest factor, right? So how many people skim the MLS for deals? Okay, so there are opportunities there, but it's the opportunity behind it, right? Where you can find a better deal is finding straight to the seller, right? So fly fishing in mind and realize that I buy and sell houses. I don't spell. If I do something wrong, it's okay. All right, so let's get into this. So the 5 Ds of distress. So the first one, you guys are probably going through, what are the 5? I probably could think of 3. All right, I'll tell you. So the first one is divorce, right? So divorce, what happens? 2 people love each other. They buy what? A house, and now they got to split it up, right? Sometimes it's amicable. Amicable? Is that right? Did I do it? Okay. Sometimes it's in good standings, and sometimes it's not. And then either one has to refi out, or they basically have to sell it, take the proceeds, and break it down, right? So the first D is divorce. I probably could do this one. Nailed it. All right. So 1 for 1. That's awesome. I know I did the like phone a friend, like good. Okay. So that's the first one, right? Is divorce. So the next one, actually where I got this fishing pole, is disease, right? So somebody gets sick, something happens, right? It could be cancer, it could be a stroke. Our last one, it was a stroke, right? Somebody has to go into a nursing home, right? Things happen, and now we need the money to either pay for treatment, or they can't stay by themselves, or something of this effect. All right, so this is the one that Dave said no E's, so a disease. Got it? All right, if you look at my notes, I is way off. Don't look at the notes. So disease is the next one. Have you guys heard the adage about the goose and the golden egg? Yes. Guys, if you haven't heard, I'm really interactive. You need to like talk back to me. Like, it's not that big of a room. Like, I see you, okay? You can't hide. So thank you, Michael. All right, so if you don't know it, so there's a king, and he has this egg, right? Or he has this goose. And one day, this goose lays a golden egg, and the king's like, what? This is awesome. This is, it goes out, the jeweler tested, this is real gold, this is awesome. So he's like, all right, well, let's see if this happens again. The next day, the king goes out, another golden egg. Oh my gosh, this is awesome, I'm rich, right? Goes on for a week or so, and he gets all these golden eggs. He thinks this is fantastic. Then what happens? The king starts getting greedy, right? And wants all the golden eggs. So what does he do? He goes to the goose, cuts it open, tries to find all the golden eggs, and there's nothing, right? He just killed his golden goose, right? So that said, we have in our world here, especially as agents and investors, and we're fishing in these fishing spots, right? So if I'm looking for divorce and disease, right? So I could find somebody who's sick, and they're my golden egg, right? I'm able to help them, right? I can find somebody who's going through a divorce and I could help them. Cool, right? Or I go for the goose. What would be an example of a goose for a divorce situation? Lawyer. Divorce attorney, right. Any other ones? That was actually all I thought of. But all right, so for disease, what do you think a goose would be for a disease? Attorney? A state attorney, what'd you say? Retirement home. I mean, that's multiple things that's a good one for. But yeah, do you see where you could help one person or you could make a relationship and have residual things that come out of it? All right, so this is one that we all, well, out of all these ones, this is what most people think of. Hey, I'm going to start buying a house. I'm going to start looking at foreclosures. Wow, thanks for not helping at all, people. Like, sorry, debt. See how it stays? It is a B, right? It's a B or a P. Thank you, thank you. So this is where most people think, hey, if I'm going to buy a house, I need to buy a foreclosure, right? So foreclosure means, or debt could be foreclosures, right? It could be people not able to pay their mortgage. It could be short sales. It could be tax liens. It could be the city tax liens. It could be, all these different things, right? But it's somebody bought a house and they're not able to afford it anymore. Great. Here's a great spot to go fishing, right? All right, so what would be a good case if you're looking for the golden goose on this one? What would be a repeat offender? Who would you target to have bunches of referrals? Yeah, mortgage people, banks. Who else? Yep. Debt consolidation people, accountants. No, I'm actually.
Clients come. I mean, that's one of my mentors, and they are in a hard spot. People outright buy their house, give them an extra $25,000, save them from foreclosure. They think just save them and win-win. So
Nice.
that's how
I'd never thought of that one because I'm thinking most people probably in debt or like going that way probably haven't afford to have one. Oh,
yeah.
I think you're onto something there. Divorce, disease, debt. All right, next. All right, is displacement. Is it two S's? You know what? Let's just do this. That one is just for effect. So what's displacement mean?
Like fire, natural disaster.
Oh, good one. Yeah, not how I had it. So I was thinking somebody had to move.
Yeah, job relocations.
Job relocation, but I,
Like, yeah, if you're okay with the floodplain insurance and all that, but you can find.
I think that's actually fantastic. That would be great for a short-term or mid-term rental, wouldn't it? Like if you target those type people. Did you say something, John? Do you want to say something? All right, displacement, right? So job relocations, think of the military. We have Scott Air Force Base over here, so sometimes they have to move, working with the VA, any of those things. You get in there, especially if you have a military background, like, dude, you're gold. Like, hey, let me help you. Oh, great. So it's rinse and repeat. And the last one, close. Downsize, I'd put probably with displacement. Death. So this is, death is a huge one for us, right? So, and what do we call it in this space? So like you could buy houses out of like estates, right? So estate sales or estate attorney or probate, which is the other big one. And those are, I didn't hear what you said.
Instead of an accountant.
Or an accountant of death, right? Yeah. Yeah. But it's this process, right? If you are starting your marketing campaign and you're looking for motivation, these are 5 areas that they have to sell, right? If you hold on to it as the family still in that person's name, they cannot close the account. They cannot close probate and give people resources until everything is closed, right? They have to sell it or someone has to buy it for proceeds to go out. Someone's divorced, like they have to make a decision. Ran some numbers on the past 5 houses I bought. So the last one where we got this, they had a stroke, right? And then they moved in with their son, who actually just had a baby. I don't know if I'd call a baby a disease, but there was a lot of motivation to get things done sooner than later in this accord. But so they had to make a decision, right? I looked at it, got it under contract on Friday, we closed the next Friday, right? That is motivation. When I was talking numbers, they were lowering their own number. I was fine at their original number. They gave me a range, then they said the number. Actually, thanks to Dave, I was talking to Dave, he's like, just try to reframe it. So I gave him back, you want me to close on this next week with this, and you think 35 is reasonable? Well, what if I go down? I'm like, okay. Like, well, what if I go down again? I'm like, okay, easy, Bo. Like, want to make sure you still have something. But like, that is motivation, right? So people are saying that there's no deals here. I would say that they're fishing or kind of in areas that are not as motivated. Is there competition? There can be, right? But it's how do you make yourself stand out? And that's where if you make the relationship with the, like the lawyer behind it. So I bought this house and I had a direct referral from the lawyer. The homeowner was walking me through, or the person doing it. There were stacks of all the mailers. Hey, I'll buy your house, I'll buy your house, I'll buy your house. Literally stacks of it on the ground. He's like, I didn't go through any of them. He said to call you. I was like, yes. So just quick numbers, past 5 houses I bought. One was disease, one was displacement, they were moving, and then the other 3 were death. So those are legit topics on what to do. Any questions on the 5 Ds of finding motivated sellers? Michael, is this the stuff that you target when you're buying? What's that? Occasionally. Occasionally? Dustin? Yeah. But in referrals, if you think about it, they're just the gatekeepers to who's typically in one of these situations. So.
Yeah, to say that what happens if they don't sell in one of these 5 situations, you end up with a vacant house, right? And those are also very attractive homes to buy.
Well, and if it's sitting vacant, well, so here, like if it sits there, it's going to go here until it goes to here, and then eventually the county will take it back because of taxes or something. So it's one of those, like, if they don't make a decision, they lose. So think of, have you guys done tax sales before? Or like a foreclosure date? Hey, if you don't make a decision by Friday, you get nothing. Let me help you make a decision before that happens, right? Because here you could walk away with some dignity, here you lose it. I mean, that's motivation. Walk away feeling good and reasonable, or you get nothing and it's taken from you. So, awesome.
Awesome. Well, give a hand for Kevin, guys. Nice job, brother. All right, guys. So everybody, I want you to take out your phones, and you're going to go to the website cashflownationlive.com. cashflownationlive.com. And the reason you're going to go is because next month I have put together an irresistible presentation for you guys, the best of the best that I have to offer, and it's how to negotiate higher commissions. How to negotiate higher commissions as an agent. Now, this is something that you're not going to find anywhere else, but right here at the DePere Lodge, December 13th, 10:30 in the morning, and you will be out of here just like today by 11:30 this morning. So RSVP, it should take you right to the Facebook event page. I'm super excited for this. As you guys know, last week or the week before, there's lawsuits flying around with realtors are charging so much, and you know, we want to beat up the realtors, we want them to charge less. Well, we're doing the opposite over here in our business. We are providing more value and charging more for it. So there's deals we've done this year where the seller is happily paying us 10% because we're adding enough value to justify that, right? So next month, I'm going to be telling you exactly how we do that, and I'm excited for you guys to see the benefits of that as well. With that, you guys are dismissed to network the rest of the time. Give another hand for Kevin Durag.